Hello world, this is Random Fix, and in this video today I'm going to show you how to install a Maxx Air Fan on your camper van. And I'm going to show you guys all the little pro tips along the way, so that way once you go ahead and cut a hole in your roof, you're going to be sure that the fan's going to go in and you're not going to cause yourself a huge headache. So stay tuned. Hello world, this is Random Fix, and in this video today we're going to be installing this Maxx Air Fan on top of a 2019 Sprinter. This is our ring right here. We're going to use our ring here just as a better support. There is our Sprinter. And for staying tuned until the end, guys, I'm going to share with you guys some things that I wish I would have done a little differently. So definitely stay tuned for that, because you definitely do not want to make any mistakes when you're installing this. And we got a drill. Make sure you have safety goggles for this one, guys. We got ourselves a little punch press here, so when you push down on it, it releases a bunch of energy. Makes yourself a nice little hole, so you can measure with that. So then I went ahead and pressed out something on the outside here, one over here, and the same on the other corner, and we're going a little bit wider, so our hole is going to be perfect. You do not want to go too tight on this. And then before you start, make sure that you get everything covered up. So we got our seat areas covered. We got a big old box to catch all the metal shavings, because there's going to be a lot. Diego's going to go ahead and punch our first hole in the ceiling right here. And it's very important, guys, to make sure that you use a bigger size drill bit, because we're going to need to get our jigsaw blade in here, and if it's too small, you're not going to be able to do that. And now we're going to go ahead and do the other 3 holes. It's a really good idea to wear a turtleneck, guys, if you're going to do this. And now we're going to go and show you guys that we got everything in the right area. Alright, so as you guys can see, we got everything in the right area. And we are looking good. And now we're going to go up there and start cutting. And just cut from corner to corner. And we'll see you guys on top of the roof. So Diego's up here. He's not surfing. We actually got a boogie board here. We're on top of the roof. You want to make sure you don't put your weight down. And you really got to invest in one of these trim pieces here. So we're going to go ahead and clean up the area here with some acetone. Then I'm going to grab some compressed air to get some of these metal shavings off here. And then we're going to go ahead and start cutting. So I'll show you guys the jigsaw that we're using and the blade. Diego, if you want to talk about anything.
Okay. So we definitely want to make sure you go ahead and invest in getting a template. As you can see, the way we did down low, our template actually is going to show a little bit bigger than the hole. You see right there. That way, once you go ahead and get it cut out, you could go ahead and insert this, no problem. You're not going to fight it.
So Diego went ahead and cleaned up the area. We got ourselves some jigsaw blades here. And these are the Bosch. They're for metal and for very thin metal, which this is. And one thing you want to try to do is try not to get the really long ones, as they become weaker.
Tape off your area so it's easier to see and trace when you're cutting.
And will protect the paint. Always measure twice and cut once, guys. You'll only get one chance at this. You can tell we've been feeding Diego good and myself better. Look at that surfboard and that aluminum bend. Alright.
So after we get our tape down, we definitely want to go back and double check, make sure we're still good with our lineup. As you can see, we're good to go. Time to cut.
And you can actually get those brackets to mount forward, backward. Make sure you get the right one for yours. If not, you're gonna have to be making some adjustments and it's not fun. Diego is looking for these blades.
Very important. Use the right tools for the job.
Hey guys, I got a secret to share with you guys. Diego's never cut the top off yet. First time, Diego?
First time. It's just like riding a bike.
So the very first thing to do is actually get it started in that corner where that hole was and work your way forward, but don't try to actually make bends.
So that's going to actually be in the way. I start over here.
And I'm going to share with you guys a pro tip. Grab the lid of a box, preferably something a little bit bigger, and as you cut, what you want to do is go ahead and slide that underneath so that piece doesn't just go crashing down and damage something.
Now keep in mind, you're going to be cutting middle, so always turn down to the lowest level, alright? You can see, if I turn it up, the rapid response to the cut is a lot higher compared to. So make sure you go ahead, turn it down to the lowest size, that way it's a nice precise cut.
So he's got that piece lunged in there so that way it doesn't just fall down once he makes the final cut here. And he's gonna have to also use a little other piece of cardboard to get himself to lift off that edge and have a level cut. So he's gonna basically use the two together.
Now when you get to your corners where you drilled out, you can see right here, obviously you can't turn that cut. If you try to turn that cut, you're gonna mess everything up and you're gonna be mad at yourself. So what you want to do is, after you go in one way, you can see I already did on the side, I came all the way in. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my blade around and come back. When I come back, now I'm gonna be able to come all the way back to the corner. So now I got a nice squared corner. There you go. Important tip when doing this. I know you see my hand down. I have no weight on that. Do not put your weight on this. You will go through and it's gonna hurt. All my weight is lacing back towards my legs, so I'm over here, I'm braced, I'm extra supported. So make sure you lean your weight backwards when you make your cuts, all right? There you have it. Come back, tighten up your edges, you're good to go.
That's why it's super important to have some protective material down below, so when that piece does go crashing, it can go ahead and land in that box and not damage anything. How's the view from up there?
There's a hole in the roof. Now we're just gonna go get this all cleaned up, get all our edges filed down a little bit, and we're good to go.
Now I'm going to give Diego this file here. Diego's going to go ahead and just get rid of those rough edges there. Okay, so now we're gonna go climb on top of the roof, and we're gonna go and mount that trim piece to the car, the one that's actually sitting right there, using these 4 self-tapping Phillips screws that it comes with. Then in between this and the car, you really want to go ahead and use 3M window, but it's not available during COVID. So we're gonna go ahead and put this, then the actual bracket, and then we're gonna go and cover up any holes with the color of lap sealant that you want. This is self-leveling, and when that dries, we're gonna go and attach this guy right here. And basically you want to make sure that the clips are on the sides, so that's the way it goes up, and the fan is basically going to go, and the rear is going to be facing that way. And yeah, so we're ready to go. We're going to go and get this done, get this mounted, and we'll see you guys on top of the roof. So we went ahead and cleaned up the roof. Let me show you guys what we did, and your setup might be a little bit different. As long as you do you and you get it done, it's all that matters. So we got a solar generator up here, got some compressed air, and we cleaned this area up good. And now we're gonna go ahead and start mounting. So we're gonna do one final prep. Use acetone on the edges there. Make sure everything's nice and clean. And it evaporates pretty quickly, so do take a few minutes and let it dry. And once it's dry, then you can start going and actually attaching it. Apply your adhesive to the actual bracket. Is coming. There you go. Okay, so we're almost done with this. You want to make sure you have a nice healthy bead. Go ahead and position this into place now. Those are the 4 Phillips screws to put in. And so, for example, after you put that in, you're going to go and then attach that piece. And obviously we're going to put lap sealant and all the rest of the stuff in between, but this is going to give you that real good angle to make sure that you have a flush surface when you're mounting that particular fan, because the roof of this van is not always flat. So in this bag right here that comes with the Maxx Air Fan, you're going to get a total of 4 white screws in here. They have these white flat heads like the one I'm showing to you right here. That's for holding the trim in place. The 16 round heads are actually going to be for holding the fan to the roof, and then the 4 bigger ones are actually for holding the fan in place from the 2 on each side metal clips. So that's how this whole thing works. The pro tip here is do not go in the corner where that fan is going to go to. So you want to try to avoid any place where that fan screw is going to go in. So go ahead and mark it up, and Diego is going to go and put in our first screw. Hey guys, the self-tapping screws here are not self-tapping, so go ahead and tap out using a tiny little drill bit. So once you go ahead and pre-drill,
And you don't drop a screw.
once you go ahead and pre-drill, it becomes a lot easier. There you go, that's sitting flush now. And I'm gonna go in and get the screw now. And before you apply the actual lap sealant, guys, make sure that you blow around the areas. Next, we're gonna go ahead and apply the self-leveling lap sealant. And be generous with this, guys. No one's gonna go on top of your roof to inspect it, so you may have to do this once or twice. And after he goes around, he's gonna go and touch up each one of the screw heads. While we're waiting for the self-leveling lap sealant to go ahead and dry, we're gonna go ahead and make our holes. for that, and then we're going to go and apply butyl tape between the two sections, and then go ahead and screw everything down. And as a pro tip, you can go ahead and put the butyl tape on the actual fan trim right here, ground level, if you'd like to do that, or you can go ahead and do that. We just use some shears like that and just cut it, and that way you can use bigger pieces. And we got the black butyl tape right there. With the butyl tape attached, we're going to go ahead and put this into place, and then we're going to use those screws, the 16 of them, and go ahead and tighten everything down. So you want to go corners first and then work your way inside, and these are just those 16 round head Phillips like that. Again, take your time and don't overdo it. So the 4 corners are done now. Now we're just going to work the opposite sides until it's all complete. So he's going middle, middle. So that way everything goes down nice and even. Okay, so we're almost done with the screws here. After we're done with that, we're gonna go and grab just a hand screwdriver and make sure we tighten everything down without over torquing it. And then I'm gonna show you guys what generosity is with the lap sealant. Now we're gonna go crazy with the lap sealant. So you normally just want to go ahead and cover the screws. We want to put the lap sealant on so thick it actually drops over the corners here and starts making its way this way. So we get these weird imperfections where you got this corner, it might be sitting a little bit higher. So we really want to let the lap sealant just go ahead and overflow. So it's always recommended that you do a little bit more than not to do enough. So Diego is actually getting one more tube of the lap sealant because we got to be generous. And down here I'm getting the fan ready. So to get access to these, you really kind of want to go and get this lifted up, and we'll get access to the 2 screws on each side. Those thicker screws that are going to go here. So the orientation of this is basically going to be, this is the front of the car and this is the rear of the car. And Diego wanted to give us some wisdom.
You want to be extra generous because it's cheaper than doing a repair.
So our generosity is actually flowing down that lap sealant, and now the fan is ready to get placed and hopefully its last resting place, never to be removed. Hey guys, as a pro tip, make sure if you have any kind of platform or anything that you're using, like we're using this 80/20 so we can have access to the roof, you want to make sure you clear this back before you engage that fan, because that lid is going to go crashing into here. So as a pro tip, do not forget about that. And before you go ahead and fasten this down, make sure you actually have access to the wire, and there's a little notch in the back to go ahead and drop the power wire right there. And if you need to push down on that, do not push on the top, go ahead and push on the sides to go ahead and line this up so you can get a tight seal. Guys, we're excited. We're gonna go try out the fan. If you got lap sealant and you want to save it, go ahead and thread a screw in there like that, and this will keep it from pouring out so we can do more tomorrow. We're gonna be putting in the solar panels up top tomorrow. We're going to be moving this back right now, and we're going to show you guys the fan in action. Alright guys, so we got this wired up. So remember, black is positive and white is negative. All right guys, so we got it working here. So basically 12 volt power. I'm just gonna show you the up and down. There you go guys. It closes and we are set. This thing's beautiful. Stay tuned for if I had to do this again, what I would do, so I can give you guys some last minute recommendations so you guys have the confidence to go ahead and do this yourself. Alright guys, so this is ready to be removed, and we have ourselves a new fan install. Hey guys, welcome back. So if I had to reinstall this fan, I'm going to give you guys my top 3 things that I wish I would have kept top of mind when I was installing this. First thing is going to be, I would want to make sure that I would make some kind of quick connector, so in case I got to pop this out, I don't have to mess with the wiring and potentially have to remove the headliner or your roof panels. You don't want to do that. It's going to cause a big headache. So see if you could try to get some kind of quick connector so you could go ahead and just remove the fan without having to sit there and worry about the wiring. The second thing I would do is, this fan, it's only about 3 months old. However, it's already giving me issues and they sent me a replacement motor. So when it does act up, I have to basically go into my fuse box here, which is underneath this seat. I have all my batteries and my relays and fuses down there to go ahead and basically turn the fan off. So that is kind of annoying. And one of the very last things that I'm going to tell you guys is going to be, I would look at a different fan that possibly has some radio frequency support instead of IR support. So if you guys notice that little button, that's letting you know this is an IR remote. So basically it needs to be line of sight to work. Well, if you're laying in the back of the camper van, you can't really point at the receiver on the fan here. So I would look at other options. Again, less than 3 months old, it's already giving me issues, and the remote doesn't really communicate with the fan. So the remote can show that you're at 30%. However, the fan is actually operating at 50%. So it doesn't really go through and verify the correct information. When you hit up on the remote, it just goes up by 10%, but the fan doesn't record it. So check out my whole review on the Maxx Air Fan and some of the things that I found great and some of the things that I found annoying. Thanks guys, and please leave your comments and questions down below. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and I really appreciate you guys watching. If you guys want to check out the whole van build playlist, do so below. Thanks.